Technology Assessment for Radiology Residents. A curriculum to understand the economics of imaging and how to value a diagnostic test. Hello, my name is Saurabh Jha. I am an assistant professor of radiology at the University of Pennsylvania School of Medicine. My clinical interests include cardiovascular imaging. My scholarly interests include value of imaging, technology assessment, and health services research. This curriculum has been made possible by the RSNA Educational Scholar Grant. I am indebted to a number of corporations and individuals whose philanthropy has made it possible for radiologists like myself to share our educational perspective with a broader audience. I am grateful also to the radiology residents at Penn. They were guinea pigs for a smaller version of this curriculum. Their periodic yawns told me where I was going wrong. If at any point I make you yawn, please let me know when, where, and why. Finally, I would like to extend my gratitude to the many scholars I have had the fortune of encountering at the Leonard Davis Institute during my pursuit of a master's degree in health policy. Much of the wisdom that appears here has been distilled from them. I am going to shorten the title to Value of Imaging. Let's ask, what exactly is this curriculum about? This is a curriculum about the principles required to assess the value of a diagnostic test. Value is a very broad term. In order to assess and assign value, one needs to borrow concepts from multiple disciplines. These disciplines include statistics, economics, probability theory, decision science, and policy. The lectures will handle these concepts broadly and then zoom into details, maintaining relevance to imaging. At this point, you are probably wondering how this is going to be different from evidence-based medicine. Value goes beyond evidence-based medicine. Value assumes the evidence. But evidence is not enough. Let me give you an example which will become clearer later in the lecture series. Which is the best modality to detect vulnerable plaque? Is it echo, CT, or MRI? To answer this question lies within the dominion of EBM. EBM will teach you the right methodology, the study design, sample size, power calculations, and so on. When the question of value comes up, we ask not just the best way to detect vulnerable plaque, but why detect vulnerable plaque at all? How will that information improve health outcomes? What will it achieve? How could the money spent detecting vulnerable plaque be used elsewhere? What is the rationale for this curriculum for radiologists? Let us recount and remind ourselves of the monumental trends in healthcare. Payment will no longer be made for volume alone. We must demonstrate value. We are moving to a value-based paradigm. Imaging has been singled out, perhaps unfairly. It is a visible target. Imaging represents what health economists call marginal care. There are two statements that appear contradictory, but both are correct. Imaging is valuable. Imaging is waste. There is no shortage of scholars working on showing the latter. But to show the former, that imaging is valuable, requires a degree of motivation which would more likely arise in a radiologist than, say for example, an internist. But here is the catch. We cannot just go around saying imaging is valuable. Otherwise, we will lose credibility. So we have to show that imaging is waste as well. It's the yin-yang of value. Value is, I am afraid, a zero-sum game. If some tests are more valuable, it must mean that other tests are less valuable. Let me impress upon you another reason why we should be actively defining and appraising value. A product that cannot be differentiated by value will be defined by price. And if a product can only be defined by price, why do you think it will fetch the highest and not the lowest price? I think you know where I'm going with this. Commoditization. The only bulwark against commoditization is value. Who might find this curriculum useful? Anyone interested in applying the principles of technology assessment to imaging. That would include medical students, residents, practicing radiologists, academics, administrators, folks in industry, just about everyone. But I am going to zoom into two groups. The first comprise radiology residents and practicing radiologists interested in health services research. The second comprise radiology residents and practicing radiologists not interested in health services research. If you are or intend to be a health service researcher, this curriculum will help you in many ways. First, I hope that this will be a one-stop shop for all the basic concepts. Even if you are heavily into outcomes research and decision modeling, you can visit the lectures to get a fresh perspective on the forest, so to speak. Depending on your level of expertise, some of the lectures may or may not address the detail that you are looking for. However, I hope that in the relevance to imaging that will be emphasized throughout, you will develop ideas for new research projects. Even if you are not a researcher, you will find this curriculum helpful. Let me give you some perspective why. The United States Preventive Services Task Force that came out with the recommendations for mammography, that task force did not have a single radiologist. Now, it is not my intention to question their results or disagree with their recommendation. What I want to impress is that it is important for us all to know how they arrived at their conclusions. What were their model inputs? How did they account for uncertainty? It is incumbent upon all to be able to ask the economists the right questions. It is not necessary that we can all build and deconstruct an economic model, but underneath all the complexity lie some very simple assumptions. We will one day move to a value-based reimbursement. Literacy and fluency in economics will mean that you can appraise your appraisal, pass a judgment on someone's value judgment of our profession. Leon Trotsky famously said, "You might not be interested in war, but war is interested in you." To slightly paraphrase, you might not be interested in economics, but economics is interested in you. I think it is equally important for me to tell you what this curriculum is not about. This is not about business, finance, accounting, management, or leadership, disciplines that are normally covered in an MBA. The terms economics and business are used interchangeably. Economics is complementary to business. If a health economist works out that CT PET imaging does not have value in the detection of Alzheimer's disease, no business model can overcome that. A shrewd, business-oriented radiologist will want to keep abreast with economics. Perhaps one way of exercising our need to know value is by asking why you should be interested in this particular curriculum. Let me offer some reasons. Firstly, it is integrated. I have gone through the time and trouble of joining multiple disparate disciplines so that you don't have to. I have already done the heavy lifting so that you don't waste time doing so. This is relevant to imaging. The lectures are sequential and the sequence makes sense. You know where to start and where to finish. You might also ask what qualifications I have, whether I have a PhD in economics or statistics. Alas, I don't. I am also, I must reveal, mathematically challenged. I was. During my master's degree, I had to simplify the subject matter for my own understanding. If I can learn it, so can anyone. The lectures will include concepts and problem solving. They will ascend from basic through intermediate to advanced. The specific areas covered include the following: rationale for technology assessment, probability theory, economics of healthcare, economics of information, models, behavioral economics, statistics, outcomes research, non-traditional ways of valuing imaging, and policy. As you can see, multiple disciplines will be integrated both horizontally and vertically. By that I mean across lectures and within a single lecture. How best to use the lecture series? The easiest thing to do is to go through the lectures sequentially. This would make the most sense. There are 10 basic lectures. You can pick any one of them at random. With a little bit of motivation, you could probably complete the entire lecture series within the entire duration of a residency, sooner if you so desire. Thank you. I hope you enjoy the lectures. If you have any questions, comments, suggestions, please do email me at saurabh.jha@uphs.upenn.edu.